Hey, soul survivors. On this channel, we talk a lot about narcissism, but there's also toxic relationships that can go bad. Most of my stories have been about love relationships, but sometimes just standard female friendships can go bad, male to male too. But Amanda is here to tell us a couple of the red flags that she has gone through. But I'd like to start with when the relationship went bad. You started sharing some of your feelings. How did this toxic relationship start eating at you? How did it make you feel?
And I'd say offended for one. Yeah, just in disbelief that I would be, I guess, accused of things that obviously is not true, and I've proven is not true, but they still continue to believe it, just like with any relationship.
Right. And
Um,
sometimes too, you build a relationship with somebody and your person had started accusing you of things that you didn't do. And no matter how much you defended yourself, it's kind of natural human instinct where we want to protect our reputation. And she was saying
right.
some crazy things about you.
Mhm.
How
Yeah, like if
how did she handle when you were talking to her? Like, hey, that's not me. I didn't do that.
yeah, like it's just like well, going back to like just the longevity of our relationship and the amount of time that we've interacted, um it's just it's disbelief to me that she would think that, knowing that I'm not like that. Like that's not even in my agenda. I'm not after anything. I'm not after um destroying anybody's relationships, or I'm I'm the all around happy go lucky person that is complimentary, nice, and I try to keep things peaceful. And so I put up with things for so long, and then when I do let them out, I can't even hardly gather my thoughts because there's so many coming at me and flooding at me that I sound like I'm strangling when I try to get everything out. It's just that, I let everything bottle up because I
So
always let everything slide.
in hindsight, what were some of the red flags that you overlooked?
I guess just like the snapping at me for certain things, snapping at me, but then turning around, all of a sudden when I'm upset, if I'm upset, then they turn around all of a sudden and it's like, oh, it was this, it was that, like it's okay, but then it's like a buildup of, a toxic, like, dude, I don't know, like it's
Yeah,
just.
over time it starts to build up. You're like, I keep telling you it's okay, but you keep snapping at me and I'm getting a little
Mhm.
tired of it.
Yeah.
How did you
Right.
react to that?
And then they go on and say, well, if you're getting so angry about it, then that must mean you're guilty. But then I'm even more angry because I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like I get angry. Are you flipping kidding me? Like I get angry all the time, plenty of times when I'm accused of something that I didn't do. So that saying is a lie. I really feel like that phrase is a lie, or it's not a one size fits all. It's
Oh,
really
I
isn't,
agree. I agree.
because
Because I
there
had
is
that
some
once.
people.
Somebody
Yeah.
somebody stole somebody else's money and they accused me and I did not do it. And they're like, well, if you're defending yourself, yeah, obviously you did it. And
Right.
that kind of makes you want to like say, no, but I didn't. And then you say that,
Yeah.
like, well, there you go. And it's like, no matter what you say, whatever's in people's minds. And that's why I love studying abnormal psychology, is because it's almost like we live in this altered reality, because if you were with a narcissist, they present so many lies that you don't know what reality you're in. And then also people, whether it's like
Love bombing.
paranoia or like you said earlier, maybe a delusionary thing, that people create a lot of stories in their head. You were even talking about, maybe thinking this person seems like they're into this other person because of their actions, but then they turn it around and say that they wanted nothing to do with that
Right.
person. And it's
Right. So how are you
confusing.
supposed to know? How are you supposed to know the difference? Like if they're acting like they're into somebody and you're just like saying, well, I thought you were interested in them, then they're gonna like get extremely mad over it when it's like, well, I mean, how was I supposed to tell the difference? Like, because you didn't tell me any different.
Right.
So I was just checking, but then yeah,
And she
everything is
gave you
just.
a really hard time when you asked her just a simple question and she took
Yeah,
offense to it.
yeah,
And
yeah, big
based on
time.
her actions, it seemed like
Yeah.
she was not telling the truth.
I think it was projections, because when we think about projections, we think about Okay, so I study psychology a lot, and I've looked this up, and cause I try to wrap my brain around what's going on, and people like they project what they don't like in themselves onto you. So if you say something about them that they're like, oh, no way, I am not, no way, that is not me, you're crazy. And then they start like belittling you or dogging what you're talking about, then it's kind of like it's their own insecurities because they really are like that, but they want to put it on you because they want to take the blame off of themselves in their own head.
Yeah.
And
Now,
so they go after you.
somebody who has narcissism or borderline personality disorder, they will start doing that a lot. But there are people who are legitimately saying, no, that's not me. And so it's hard to tell what's projection, what's not, because we can't really get into somebody's mind when they're lying.
Right.
And we get confused because some people aren't. Just like I wasn't lying about stealing the money. But sometimes if somebody's shady where they would steal, they're like, of course it was you. You were.
I think and like I said, I have a right to be upset over this. Okay. It doesn't mean I'm guilty because I have gotten pissed plenty of times when someone's accusing me of something I didn't do. A lot of times I will let it go. But when it becomes a cycle, then I get mad. Then
Right.
I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm not doing this no more. You're not going to do this to me because really this is abuse. It's abuse. It really
It is
is.
abuse.
It's
It is
abuse.
abuse. And it also
Especially
can affect.
when you're trying to tell them the truth of what really happened, but they're not interested in the truth. They just want to keep coming back with more of their own made up stuff that is essentially lies. It's lies. It's not truth. It's not truth. There's no way. It's not truth. And so it's like it's frustrating because they don't want to know the truth. Because if they would really listen to you, then they would find out the truth. Because I am all about truth. I don't want anybody to suffer and think that I'm doing something that's going to harm them. I want them to know the truth. But if they're not interested in knowing the truth, then what's the point of trying to keep telling them? So
Right.
if they
Yeah.
have a
And that's
one-track
the thing.
mind,
When relationships start getting toxic, nobody starts hearing, or it's one-sided where one person is listening, willing to work through it, and then the other just wants to accuse, not take accountability. And how long did you know her? It was over 10 years or under 10 years?
no, it's under 10. It was like it's probably been like 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
But the accusations started, very early on in the relationship, but they died out to my knowledge, but I found out that they didn't really die out because
Yeah.
she still had the seething thought that something happened and that we still knew each other when I didn't know him. I never even seen him, talked to him, heard from him, nothing. Nothing. I didn't even know what he looked like.
So it was a jealousy thing on her part,
But right, and the thing
and you
is I
never
never
even met
even
the person.
right, exactly. That's the thing. That's what's so frustrating. I try to tell the truth, the truth. Like, why would I lie? First of all, I'm divorced. I'm happily divorced from a narcissist. Okay,
Okay.
I'm happily divorced. There's plenty of fish in the sea, but I choose. I don't. I'm not interested in any of the fish in the sea right now because I'm
Really,
not
right.
interested in myself and learning why I always pick the toxic relationships
Yeah.
because I
And
do.
sometimes it is something in us that,
Yeah,
why do we
I
keep
do. I
picking
gravitate
people?
when you grow up with that, which I grew up with it. I grew up with a narcissistic mother and a father that did nothing
Your
and
parents
like
were
stayed
still together
silent.
though, weren't they, or not?
No, they're still together,
Okay,
but they're still
that's what I
together.
thought. Yeah.
But I haven't had contact with them in like 2.5 years.
How was your mother
2.5 years.
narcissistic? Can I ask?
Oh, like I could probably check off every one of the boxes.
Okay. Just
Like, I mean, this is a lady that I grew up with that her her joy in life was making other people suffer,
okay, that's pretty narcissistic.
especially little kids, because she was bigger than them.
Oh,
So her
that's very
own children,
interesting. Let me say this real
yeah.
quick. A lot of narcissists will either pick somebody younger,
Mhm.
or somebody kind of weaker, where they're really,
Yeah,
weak, kind, giving, kind of naive. Narcissists target that. And
yeah,
like you said, with sometimes there's predators against children because, children are pretty trusting. and they don't know how to stand up for themselves. And even adults, as we get older and are in narcissistic relationships, we're not used to that. We're like, whoa, where's this coming from? I don't know how to handle it. Even if you do, even if you know how to handle it, the narcissist won't let you.
Right.
They will not let you have good communication with them. So
They
it's
won't.
a no-win
Everything's an
situation.
argument, girl. Everything is an argument. Everything, no matter what you say or do, everything is twisted around. They end up, if you say something to them about what they're doing, they always bring you into it and start dogging on you to take the light off of them. Always.
So did your mom give you a hard time about did she kind of cut down your self-esteem?
100%.
100.
Actually, I would say, honestly, I would say 150%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's the kind of
sometimes
mother
too,
that I grew up with. Very cold, very cold-hearted, very, very narcissistic, bully, such a bully, especially little children. My cousins, all my cousins, even my friends in high school, she would say they were ugly and ha ha ha, and she would fucking like literally. We used to remember how we used to wear those cornrows, you know, like we used to flip our hair up and curl them and spray with
right?
Aquanet. Do you remember those days?
Heck
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we'd be in church, honestly, because they hid behind the church, right? We'd be in church, she'd mess up my hair, and then I would get angry and so upset, and she would just do it, and then she would laugh so much because I was so upset. And then one time, I'm not kidding, this might sound really bad, but one time I fucking pinched her. I pinched her because I was so angry that she thought it was so funny and that she just kept doing it. And then, so guess who became the worst person in the world? Me, because I pinched her. Guess what the conversation became about? Me, because I abused her, I pinched her. But I was a
That's
fucking
that
child.
reactive
I was
abuse,
like,
right?
yeah,
It's
I
like,
was
I
like,
can only take this
yeah,
for so long and you
yeah.
will react.
Like, oh, you have no idea. Like, I've never met anyone like her in my life. Never in my life. Like, I haven't talked to her in 2.5 years, and my sister hasn't talked to her. And then my sister has, she's going to therapy and stuff now too. Like, we went through emotional abuse our whole lives growing up. I mean, I'm telling you, a lady, I have a twin brother, right? I have a twin brother. I have pictures of literally her sitting there like this, and my brother, my baby brother, my twin, we're like 1.5, 2 years old. He's like sitting beside her, and she's over here smiling, and he's like this, literally, like I could show you the picture. He's like this, and his face is all red, like he's like fucking
Really?
two, girl. Should I cuss? Or should I not cuss?
You what?
Is it bad to cuss?
No,
Because
you're,
I do.
I
Okay.
mean, oh no.
I'm like,
No, this is like an
literally, you
adult
can
channel.
see him almost popping out of his skin, girl. And then I'm over there by my aunt, laying on her shoulder, crying while she's holding her daughter. And my mom's over there like, because she was so satisfied that she got to us, that she made us so angry, that she made
And
us so
did she
flared.
play any favorites? Because this is a perfect twin example. Boy, girl. Did she have a favorite between a boy and a girl?
Well, I honestly was a scapegoat. So because the reason is because I found out later in life, going through therapy and everything and researching on my own, I found out I was a scapegoat. So I was blamed for everything. And the reason is because I had a mouth on me.
Okay.
Because I didn't take it. Because I like countered her for
You
everything
were
that
the
she said
threat.
and did.
You were the threat.
Yeah,
And she was trying
I
to
was a
get you
threat. I was a threat.
down.
There's even pictures. I was pointing at her. I'm little, like freaking 2, 3 years old, pointing at her because she's taking pictures. She enjoyed taking pictures of us in
Bad.
demise. Yeah. I have a picture book, and so many pictures of them are me crying, of us looking like we're dissociated. We're completely like dissociated, and none of us are happy. None of us, me, my sister, brother, none of us are. We have no smile on our face. We look like ghosts. We look like we're seeing a ghost. There's so many trauma. I mean, this lady, she lived to put little kids down. She would laugh about it. The evil fucking laugh, girl. Evil, evil. She would laugh about it. And then she wonders why her kids are screwed up. So, and guess what? So my twin brother was found dead June 9th, I think it was June 9th or June 7th. 9th, yeah. He was in the morgue for like 10 days before we found out he was dead. my twin brother. And then
What did he die from? Can I ask?
well, he had a problem. He did. However, he also okay, so he had a problem with drugs and alcohol, like all of us trauma survivors do.
Right.
We
Yeah.
do,
A lot of
you
times
know,
it's a coping
we
mechanism.
do because it's a coping mechanism. It is. So he had gotten in trouble though. He'd gotten in trouble and he was on parole for like he was well, he went to prison for it was some petty stuff, but it was habitual offender.
Okay.
So, you know, because he was homeless for a long time. So, but fast forward after he goes to prison and then gets out, he's got an apartment, you know, everything's going good. He's got a job, a great paying job. He's there for like a year and a half, 2 years, an apartment, you know, a year, 2 years. Well, he had to move into a new one because the other one got sold or whatever, but he was doing great. I mean, he had his apartment was loaded, like, you know, he was just doing really good. He was making a lot of money. He was doing good. He was feeling good about himself, everything. So, he was clean. That means he was clean for 4 years because he was in prison and then he was on parole and he was scared to do anything while I was on parole because he's like, I'm not getting in trouble again. So he literally got off parole June, I think it was June 4th or something. It was he got
Just a
off parole
few
in June
days.
and he was dead by July. What he was dead within like freaking 6 weeks
Yeah.
because when he got off parole, that's when he went in and started doing shit again. And then as soon as he was off parole, like so his body wasn't used to it. So he overdosed.
Right. He's probably used to taking a certain amount,
Right.
or
He
it's like,
overdosed. They
oh,
said
this
it
is
was
the high that.
accidental. Yeah, they said it was accidental, but he overdosed on meth.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did but not only that, see I was like but not only that, but he let's see, so he had he had lingering voices in his head. And it was always criticizing voices from his family.
Okay, so it wasn't like a schizophrenic thing. It was just, I'm not good enough. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not sure because we never really, because I offered him therapy and he even asked me to ask my therapist for a therapist. I gave him all the information and I'm not sure if he followed through with it. I do know that he was going to a group and there was a group leader there, Jim, that he was seeing that he really liked. And so he was doing great. That's what gets everybody because he was doing so great. Like, oh my God, like, dude, for like freaking 2 years straight, he was perfect. As remember his landlord said, he was the perfect tenant. They said never had any problems with him. Like he was there for like 9 months because he just moved over there from another place that got sold that he was a tenant at. He wasn't homeless anymore. He had his own stuff. I mean, I have his TV, I have his recliner and everything here, you know, as a room, as just as memories, you know.
And
But
that's why it's really important in these relationships, whether it's from
but our
child.
mom beat us down. She beat us down, girl, mentally so bad.
And that can affect you the rest of your life sometimes. And that's
I mean, you're talking about the only one that you have to look to for anything. That's your mother, right? If your mother is not the one you can go to, then who can you go to? Because everyone's scared of your mother, including her sisters, including all her family. Betty is the one who's in charge of everything, and nobody wants to make Betty mad. So Betty can do and say whatever she wants and get away with it. She can even torment your kids right in front of you and nobody will say anything. I've seen her do it to my cousins with their moms right there. Nobody will fucking say anything to her because they're all scared of Betty. And who the fuck is Betty? Who is she?
right. What makes her
Yeah.
better, which
Yeah.
it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is she
And then
better
she would
than?
sit there with her life. She would do the same thing to her sisters. My aunt that died. My aunt died. Her sister died, and she's the youngest one, but she died, and I think that she had COVID. And they just didn't know it yet because it was right before 2020. She died at Thanksgiving. She died right before Thanksgiving, right before 2020. And she had all the symptoms that my dad had when he went into the emergency room and he was in there for 4 weeks. She had every symptom that my dad had, every single one of them. But and so she died, you know, and she's younger. She's like, I don't know, like 7 years younger than my mom. Right. But my mom bullied her whole life.
Right.
Bullied
So
her.
after
But
a
guess
while,
what?
you stop
Yeah.
standing up to the bully.
Right.
Like,
So I heard that. She would even say stuff like, if you weren't my sister, I wouldn't even be your friend. Yeah. She would say stuff like that. And she would laugh. And she was like, you're so fat. You're so fat. Oh my God. And she would laugh laugh, evil laugh. She said that to every one of her sisters and brother at the table, and she would say that to about anybody. My cousin Tammy. Oh yeah, girl. My cousin Tammy cut her off right away after Sue died. She didn't have anything else to do with her because she said the only reason why I even talk to your mom is because of my mother. Because my mother wanted nothing more than but to have a relationship with her big sister. That's it. Right. So, but when my aunt came into some money because she got married to a guy that had money and was wealthy, guess who used all my aunt's money up? Guess who? My mom.
Oh,
Yeah.
how does she get
Oh,
access
yeah.
to?
She had my mom put her in a whole new freaking kitchen, countertops, flooring, but I mean, you
Did
name it. Yeah.
your mom
From
promise to pay it
two
back?
new vehicles, two new vehicles. Yeah. She ran my aunt dry. Yeah. And then still wants to cut her down to this day whenever you mention anything about something that's in the past. Oh, well, it's probably Susie probably did that. You know, she was the one that was hanging out with all these people. She's the one that was going around and screwing everybody when it was so untrue. You know, like, but yeah, she's the one crying at the funeral and making everybody make it about her.
Oh,
Oh, there's no pictures of us up there. And Tammy,
oh, good point. Yeah, because they
yeah,
want to
I
be
feel like you have
noticed.
anything to do with me. No, and like, well, of course not. You literally made this girl cry our whole lives. Like, I remember being at the table. I remember my cousin literally taking flowers to my mom to try to make peace, just to be in her goodwill. But that's what my mom lived for. She lived for people to make people feel like crap, and then them trying to do whatever they could to make it up to her,
Was there
kiss her
anything
butt.
that stimulated her abusive actions? Or
Well, I
was it
mean, she
just
came from a very, okay, so she's a very defensive person. She came from a very poor family. She came from the South. You know, they use the bathroom, you know, like outhouses and stuff. Like they came from a very poor, very abusive home. Her father was extremely abusive and very sexually abusive with all the children, including I. And then whenever I would tell her about it when I was young, she would tell me I was lying and she would leave me in his care anyway.
but
I would be
she was
screaming.
abused by him as well?
I'm pretty, yeah, she says she was. She says she
So
was. Yeah,
there's some like red flag there. Maybe my
right.
daughter's telling the truth.
And yeah, and see the thing is that's where the fine line comes in because it's like, okay, well, I know they had abuse in their life and they're acting on that. However, when it comes to them projecting it on you, then that makes it not okay, no matter what. It's not your responsibility to make them feel better for what happened to them. When
Right.
especially when it's your daughter, your children, and even children, like it's your responsibility to make sure it doesn't happen to them. Not like, oh, it
Right.
happened to
Stop the
me, you'll
generational
be fine.
trauma.
Her attitude was more like, it happened to me, so you'll be fine. You'll get over
Right.
it.
I survived. You will.
Yeah. Yep. And
Instead.
then that was a way to pawn me off too. Pawn me off. Like to get rid of me because I was too loud. I spoke out too much because I wouldn't put up with her BS. I
Right.
was the only one that would stand up and say something.
And a lot
So
of
me
times
and her never.
when kids act out, a lot of times it's because something's not quite right. So you
Right.
trying to exert a little bit of dominance because you felt so beat down. It wasn't, I can come to mommy, I can talk to mom, or I'm going to be loved when I talk to her. So you were trying to be seen, you were trying to be heard. And, it just starts affecting how your brain develops.
Mhm.
And,
Because you don't have anyone to turn to,
yeah,
especially when it's your own mother. I mean, who else are you going to turn to? Especially like when your father does nothing and he's just, just like a bystander that lets everything happen. And then, but not only that, but he's so holy that spare the rod, spoil the child. So, yeah. So we got beat. Like every time we went to church, me and my brother, we come home, we got beat with a belt. We had to go to him for a freaking belt because we weren't good enough, well behaved enough in church. Yeah. Yeah. But that's what we were taught. We were taught, oh, spare the rod, spoil the child.
right.
Um, that God is gonna like strike you dead if you do anything wrong. And
There was a
oh yeah,
lot of fear growing up. You're
they
younger than
still
I
preach
am,
it
but
today, girl. Oh yeah.
it used to be
And
you're
my
gonna
mom
die
was
if you do this, you're
yeah,
gonna die if you do that.
yeah,
But
she'd be
I
the
mean,
first one. She'd be the
uh,
first one to be like, oh, she'd be the first one to be talking all this crap, right? And then leave church and then or wait, she'll be in the church acting all innocent and like everything's all, innocent. And then as soon as she leaves, she's talking crap about everyone in the church.
that's the
Gossip. That's
two-faced,
what I heard my
yeah.
whole life. Gossip, gossip. I had the biggest fear my whole life of being talked about because of that. because I would hear her talk about me, like when I'd be laying on the couch, she thought I was sleeping, and she would say, "Man, he's such a bitch," like stuff like that. I would take it to heart. But yeah, she's just my mom is psycho. She's psycho. I mean, who puts little kids down for their own enjoyment? Who does that?
Right. Yeah.
And then laughs about it,
Right.
and then
A lot of
everyone
times,
knows.
like she was doing with her
Yeah,
sister, is they'll get onto your insecurities, maybe weight,
yeah.
whatever you're insecure about, or your job, maybe you're not making as much money as you wanted, whatever it is, they're gonna,
Well, even if you're prospering, this is what she says. Like she told my sister. My sister is married to a very wealthy man, right? Very wealthy man. And she's been with him for forever, I mean, I don't know how, the relationship was whatever, but I guess it's fine, whatever. But anyways, either way, she's living in a $3.2 million house, right? In Bluefield Hills, Michigan, right? Guess what my mom told her? Don't you come from the other side of the tracks too, so don't think he'll ever have you move in with him. Don't think he'll ever be with you. That's
oh,
what she said. That. And then when I was going to school, like even when I was going to school, oh, you'll never finish. You'll never finish. Yeah, like she doesn't
instead
want her
of
kids to
building
do
you
better.
up, she's
She
trying to
doesn't
put
want
it,
her kids to do better than her. She doesn't like anytime we do anything great, it's an offense to her.
did she graduate?
No, no.
See,
She grew up.
so the
She grew up
education
in the
part,
South. I think she was probably out of school in the ninth grade. Her brother Fletcher was out of school in like the third grade, working in the freaking cornfields, working in the
oh,
cotton
so they
fields.
grew up
Yeah,
real
he
poor.
still can't even read and write, and he's like 60 something, and he's been on assistance his whole life. Yeah, so anybody that's wealthy or has anything good going for them, she dogs on them because they don't deserve it. Like you think your dad doesn't work harder than they do? Because my dad chose to not finish his education. He chose to be able to work in a factory.
Right.
But anybody that's any higher money wise or successful than them, then she's dogging on them,
Yeah.
including her children. She doesn't
They
want us to
feel
be
if they
independent.
can't have it, nobody else should.
Right, right. And so when anybody has any money and they can get their hands on it, especially her, she gonna go for it. She's
Right.
already got thousands of dollars out of my sister, conned her into that, from her husband and this and that, like yeah, like they just it's just ridiculous. So in hindsight, the point is that no matter what, I and all of us, whatever, we gravitate towards the people that are toxic because that's what we know. We don't know any different.
Yeah, because the thing is in the beginning, it'll fill your void of not feeling love. So they're love bombing you. Things seem great. You got this fairy tale relationship. But then when they start knocking you down, it feels like home. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I guess
Yeah.
family
It's
is yeah,
familiar. Like,
yeah.
right. If you're fighting, if you're arguing and you're fighting, then that's familiar. But you don't really like that. But like that's what you're accustomed to. So like you still go for it. You still go for the ones that want to do that, even
Right.
though it's unconscious, because I don't really want that, but that's what I seem to attract.
Yeah, because like I have spaghetti, chicken, and tacos. That's about all I eat. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's like there's so many better foods out there, but I just creature of
I
habit.
just the ribeye girl. I'm not kidding. I've been on a ribeye
We'll have to
little
meet up.
streak. I'm not kidding. Yeah,
We have to go. We have to
but
go to the restaurant. I'll see you soon.
yeah. No, you just come here. Here's the restaurant.
There you
No,
go.
'cause I've been cooking up, girl. I've been using my time
Oh, I saw
wisely.
your post on Facebook.
Yeah,
It looks like you're a good cook. Like
yeah. Well,
really
I just
good.
put some ribeye in the skillet in the cast iron too. You sear it on each side and you put it in the oven for like 3 or 4 minutes on each side, and then take
So
it out.
so let me ask you this though. How long it did look really good and tender. How long your marriage was 12 years? How long was it?
No, my marriage was
10?
it was 15
15?
years.
How long was it
Well,
bad?
we got together in 2000. We got married in '04. So we got together in 2000, got married in '04, and then we got divorced in 2020.
Okay. How long was it bad?
Um, hindsight, the whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah, hindsight, yeah. I mean, there was definitely good opportunities. There was definitely the love bombing, everything. But no, girl, I'm telling you, as soon as I got with him, like my confidence went right down the drain. I was all confident, everything, the first time around with him, and then his comments and everything just took me right down. I had no confidence. I didn't believe in anything in myself. I didn't. I was getting social anxiety that I never got before. Like I need to go back home. Like I should go back home. Like I need to go back to where Aaron's at. Whatever. But the thing is that he was the one that it was just being with him that brought me down because it was the same cycle, same cycle. I
Now,
wasn't allowed to say
what
anything.
was his background? Was his from a toxic upbringing?
It wasn't hunky dory. It wasn't hunky dory. No, his dad left them when he was like 3, and so his mom and them got divorced, and they still don't speak to this day. I'm talking like 40 years later. They still don't, I don't know, 30 years maybe, whatever. But yeah, no, it's very toxic. It was very toxic. They
Right.
so but and so yeah so he's got that in him to where the power and control.
Right.
Power
And
and control.
how did you
Yeah.
handle that when he was trying to control you? How
Well, not very well. That's why we're not together. Because the thing is that yeah, the thing is that people don't understand me. They don't understand me though. Like I am cool and I'm calm, cool and collected, and I'm easygoing, and I'm the lover of all lovers. But if you're gonna mess with me and you're gonna come into my happiness and you're gonna try to tell me I'm doing something I'm not or bring me down, I can't help it but like stand up for myself. That's just me, and that's why I don't get along with a lot of people. That's why well, I get along with everyone, but that's why some people, cut me off because they can't handle my bluntness.
Right.
But I'm the nice. I would never be a non-real friend ever, never, ever, ever. That's just not me. I'm genuine, and that's the truth. I'm a genuine partner. I'm a genuine friend. I'm all that. But if you're gonna cross the line, I'm not gonna put up with it though. That's what they got wrong with me. I'm not just gonna put up with it though. I might be nice and happy-go-lucky, but I'm not gonna put up with BS. That's not cool.
Right.
Yeah, they think they just walk all over you because you're nice, and I'm not. That's not true.
Yeah. There comes a time where it's like I'm not tolerating this anymore.
Yeah.
And that's why there are times, where we might have had 20, 30, 40 friends, and now we're like, I got 2 friends, like nobody likes me. And it's like
Well,
people like
it's,
you,
it's
but
almost
some of
better
them
that
want to
way.
use you, some want to, what do
Yeah.
they like you for? Did they get to know
Right.
you? Because a lot of relationships are so superficial. People don't take the time for people anymore, and people
Yeah,
take
I'm learning big time. Like, man, you think you know someone, and man, as soon as you call them out on their bluff, you're gonna see a completely different person than you thought you knew.
Mhm.
As
Yeah,
soon as it doesn't have to be mean or rude. As soon as you state what they don't like that you're stating, as soon as you call them out on something, even if it's in a nice way,
it can
and
even
they
be
don't
like,
like
look,
it,
you need to stop
yeah,
calling me after 10 p.m. I got to work in the morning. And they're like, oh, there, you can't be there and it's like, whoa. Like,
yeah,
I just said, don't call me after 10. Like, I should
yeah,
be able to say that.
yeah. They twist it around and just take it to the extremes. But yeah, it's being in relationships nowadays is crazy making. It really is. It's crazy
So,
making.
which were the most hurtful? Because we started talking about female basic friendship buddies, and then like with your upbringing, and then your marriage and divorce, which
Yeah.
was the hardest on you?
See, and then that just shows you that there's a pattern. That just shows you the pattern. I always go for the wrong one. I always click with the wrong ones. I always do, no matter what. That's why I stopped dating because I went on dating apps and everything. And like everyone I met, I swear to God, were fucking like they were narcissists. They really were. Like
I'm
I was
glad you brought that up. A lot of narcissists are they want something quick. A
Mhm.
lot of times it could be superficial and sexual. They don't want to take the time to invest. I just did a video about how on average, they have studies on average that narcissists are better looking on average. And that's all subjective. You might think somebody's not cute or whatever, but
But there can be narcissists that
well, some are not.
that's the problem. That's the problem is that narcissism doesn't just apply to good looking people. It doesn't.
It
It
doesn't,
doesn't at all.
right. But I was saying there are
Yeah.
studies on average. Now there's some that are based on society, no, they're not taking care of themselves or whatever it is. But a lot of times
It's
they
just
get
an
to
inflated
like,
feeling. Yeah.
pardon?
It's like an inflated feeling that they have that they're
Yeah,
superior.
they feel
That's all.
entitled. Everything works for them.
But it's actually their own insecurity, though. Actually, narcissists are actually so super insecure that that's what they put that front up.
Yep.
But really,
So
deep down inside, they're very insecure.
it gets interesting because they come in with this confidence and
Yeah.
exciting, like, wow, this person's so confident, and it kind of like bleeds into you, and then it's all fake though. And so
Yeah.
they go with all that shame, or it gets exhausting to keep up that facade. And then or they get comfortable with you. And they're
Right.
like, okay, I don't have to
Or they carry this facade for so long that when they're actually normal, when they actually have broken down and are normal, they don't know what to do with themselves. I've seen that in my ex plenty of times. Plenty of times. Like
say
when
that
you'd
again, they
actually
were
act
broken.
normal.
When
Huh?
they're normal, they don't know what to do with themselves. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like when
their
he's
brain
actually,
activity.
yeah, when he's actually polite and caring and considerate, it was like he didn't know what to do with himself. And like it was like he was going crazy. And he had to bring back on that strong personality, that mean personality. It was
Mhm.
like he couldn't take it no more. He couldn't take being nice anymore. I
Yeah,
swear I saw it.
it brings them
I saw him
outside.
shrink. I saw all kinds of stuff, girl. Yeah. Cause yeah, just like, yeah, I'm telling you, like it's crazy. Like, yeah, I could write a book on this. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. For real. Cause he's the perfect example. But not only that, but I grew up. And the thing is I never knew that my mother was a narcissist until I started therapy. But then it's like that because see, I always thought narcissists came from like well-to-do, wealthy families that have everything going for them, and
They,
prim and proper and all great. And my mom was anything but. She
yeah,
came from
because you
fucking.
have your
She came from the
overt,
hills.
you have your overt and your covert. The overt will be like those grandiose and wonderful, and you can see it. They'll be you can obviously see that they're a narcissist, super cocky, all these kind of things. And then you have the covert, which are like the sneaky, shady ones,
Yeah,
or the
they're so ashamed
vulnerable.
of themselves and their upbringing that that's how they dish it out on other people. That's how they feel better about themselves. They make themselves feel bigger by being narcissistic and by putting everybody else down.
So your
You
mother, though,
know.
she was she sound covert or overt. Where was she like that? She was like that with family, extended family. Was she like that with people like at the doctor office or at the grocery store? Was she
Of course not. Of course not.
okay? So
Of
yeah,
course
there's
not.
a covert.
Church,
You can go
everything. Oh
between
yeah,
covert and
perfect
overt.
image. Oh yeah. As soon as you leave, oh yeah, just the meanness comes out. Oh yeah, behind closed doors. Behind closed doors. I mean, she would do some stuff, in front of people, but like I guess it was never a big enough deal for anybody. I guess she would do some stuff, but oh yeah, like completely different person, be cussing up a storm, everything. Like like yeah. But then just leave for church like she's all holy. Like,
Yeah,
give me a
it's
break.
like
Are you
Jekyll and
serious?
Hyde. You're super
Yeah.
religious and well reserved, and then
But not only that, but gossip, like crazy with church friends. So everyone wants to think that church people, I'm not dogging on church people at all, but there are a lot of church women for sure that gossip. What makes
women
them
tend to
so
gossip
holy if they're
more
going
than
to
men.
gossip about other people? Because I've always said, if you're going to gossip, why can't you gossip about the truth? Why do you have to make up stuff?
Yeah, why
Why
can't
can't
we
you
say
at
like the
least talk about the
wonderful
truth?
things that are going on?
Well, I mean, at least if you're gonna make up something, at least let it. At least if you're gonna say something bad, let it at least be true. But why make it up? That's
There's a
what I don't get.
lot of lies within it.
Right. So that's what I grew up around. I grew up around gossiping. I grew up around bullying little kids, and especially her own children, my cousins, you name it. Oh yeah. Oh, make you cry, make you want to freaking scream out of your skin. But it was all funny, and nobody did anything about it. Nobody did anything about it. And then yeah, so I mean, I've pretty much cut her off, and I cut her off from my kids' life too because I don't want, even though she's still contacting. I just found out she's still contacting my kids, and she just contacted my daughter. She's been talking to her on Messenger or whatever. I'm not trying to get in the middle of that, but I'm like, like still, there's a reason why I cut that off because you're not gonna make my daughter feel like she's gross. Number one,
Has she
because
ever
I,
done that?
huh?
Is she doing that with your daughter?
Well, there was one incident and that's when I cut it off because I already know her history. And there's one incident that like I had changed my daughter's diaper and cleaned her up and everything, and she ran off. And then she went to my mom and got my mom's lap. And then mom was like, she's like, and she realized that she was naked, and she's like, "Ew, gross! What are you doing?" And she put her down, and I noticed my daughter felt very embarrassed and ashamed. And she was like 2.5, 3 years old. And I was like, that's it. No way. You're not going to make her feel like she's dirty. No way.
Right.
Because she's a child. Because I know how she is. That's the thing, is that, like, well, even my kids don't understand. But when she does something, I know the pattern. And I'm not going to have that in my kids' life. She's not going to make my kids feel like shit. And
Right.
then she'll even say, she'll talk about me to my kids and say, if you tell your mom that I asked you these questions, then you're not going to be allowed to come back to my house. And then
Oh,
even
the
my daughter,
stress too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then,
Keeping
and
secrets.
that's why she's contacting them behind my back right now too. You know, yeah. She talks to Reese behind her back, and then but she asks questions and stuff. And I told Reese, I was like, if you don't want to answer the questions, don't. Because the thing is that Reese gets upset with me if I try to say don't talk to her. So I'm just like, I'm not trying to get in the middle of that,
Right.
whatever. But I'm just saying it. If you don't want to answer her questions, just tell her no, because she's always got all kinds of questions. What's going on? Like, what's your mom doing? Like this, that, what's going,
They
like,
like to keep tabs on you. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah.
she, is
So,
your mother still trying to reach out to you at all? Or your sister?
no, not to me, because she tried before, and it's probably been like a year now, but I've never responded. And so she said some pretty nasty things. I've never responded, and I just let it be that,
Oh, so
because
even when she reaches out, she's still nasty?
oh yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I mean, she had said some nice things, but like if she doesn't agree with something that was said, then yeah, she throws all kinds of stuff out there, like just
Yeah,
like
sometimes
mean
it'll
stuff.
be really nice, like, sweetheart, mommy loves you, this and that, and either
Oh, it's
don't
nothing like
reply,
that.
you
Yeah, no, even
ungrateful,
one time I seen,
whatever.
yeah, it's definitely like that with her. I even seen a comment one time on Facebook. Um, like I had posted something and it's like, you'll always be a little girl. And I just remember feeling like sick to my stomach. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I've never been your little girl. You gotta be kidding me. Like,
Right.
this is a joke. Like, just that comment, I was like,
Like,
oh
what?
my God, like I want to puke right
Who is
now.
it?
Yeah, yeah, for real. But so growing up with that, it's obvious that I'm gonna gravitate towards. And the funny thing is that the whole time I was with my ex, even in the beginning stages, I was like, man, you're just like my mom. You're just like my mom. You're my mother. And that's, yeah. I knew it then, but I didn't know then what had actually I didn't know what I actually went through, because that was all I knew. So I didn't know it was abuse.
Right.
I didn't know any different. But
And
yeah,
sometimes we
yeah,
do that because we are seeking the love that we didn't get from our mother or father, and you saw some similarity, or it turned that way into that type of relationship. And now, does he have any brothers and sisters?
yeah, he has 2 brothers.
And so are there differences between the children, or are they pretty much just like your ex?
Um, I mean, like, I can't say for sure, like, I can't say for sure because I've never been with them, but I
Okay.
definitely see
Yeah, sometimes we
similarities.
don't know them that well.
Yeah, because we don't know them like that. But I went through the crazy making whole. I didn't even know what was going on. I just knew that I was in mental anguish. I literally would go out to the garage and literally want to just pull my hair out because I was so frustrated, because he just, no matter what you try to talk to him about, he turned around. It was like a circle. It was so frustrating. It was like you couldn't get anything through, you couldn't say anything, but then you're still left like hurt because you're like trying to fix things. And when there's always problems, according to the narcissist, they always create problems. You're never going to be good because they're always going to leave you not knowing where you stand. Always.
Yeah, and they don't did he answer direct questions for the most,
Um,
like did he like to avoid direct questions to where at the end you're just like, I have no idea what the outcome is?
well, that's the way it was, like, all the time. Like, you would start out with something and then would be completely turn into this crazy argument that completely ended up into a completely different area than what you ever even started the conversation about. And so it was crazy making. It was like we never could get anywhere. He'd always turn everything around on me and then say, "Oh, you're just trying to start an argument." And that's actually one of the number one signs of verbal abuse. You're just trying to start an argument. And I didn't know that then until I started researching
It's
back years
very
ago.
dismissive. You're like,
Yeah,
oh, I am trying to
yeah,
communicate. And it'd be nice too if we're not always perfect, so we might try to communicate. It would help
right.
if they help us communicate.
Right.
A lot of times too, as we start walking on eggshells, like, I really don't want to upset you, and I was just kind of hoping that we could talk, and they're like,
Yeah.
they start getting annoyed, like, just
Yeah.
say it, just say it, just say it. And it's like, whoa, I am trying so hard to not upset you,
Right.
say it the right
That,
way.
but that's the way they make it, though. They want you to be uncomfortable. That's their goal. They want you to be uncomfortable. They want you to be intimidated. They want you to keep your mouth shut. They want you to be afraid to say anything.
Did he ever get that little smirk?
I
Like,
learned that because I would go back. Yeah, I would go back over and over and over again, girl, over again, trying to make it right. And I was never going to get anywhere. And I didn't know it then. And I even look back on myself and I'm like, oh, I feel so bad for her. Because I would try so hard. I would get up out of bed, everything, go back, go back, go back, just to be shot down even worse each time. I would do that to myself because, you know,
out of
I was just still, I was trying to get closer.
out of curiosity, were you the one that filed for divorce, or did he?
He did.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
It's like,
Yeah.
instead of working it out, or, listening to what you.
Well, I mean, we had a rocky relationship for a couple years anyways. So honestly, then I was a complete wreck. Then I was like in mourning. Then I was like, I can't believe you do this to me. I can't believe you just like do this to me. Like, how dare you just like leave me, But it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm not gonna lie, it was the freaking best thing that ever happened to me. I would have never did it because I didn't know any different. I thought that was it. That was it.
Right.
And I didn't realize though that I don't need a man to be happy, you know, because I grew up my whole life thinking I needed someone else to make me happy, and I don't.
Right.
So it was the best thing that ever happened to me in hindsight. And I tell you what, I started the dating sites. I was all excited, this and that. I was starting, and I tell you what, like that didn't last long. And now I'm like, I even told my therapist, I'm like, you know what, they ruined me because I have no desire. I'm like, if I'm not kidding you, I have no desire. Like girls talk about their guys, and I even have my daughter come home talking about these guys that she likes, has crushed on, and I try to fill it with them, but that desire is gone. Like they've ruined it. But then she just smiles and she says, that's because you realize that you only need yourself. And she thinks it's great. And then I'm like, I don't know, there's something wrong with me because I don't have any interest anymore. I'm good by myself, girl. I can do bad all by myself.
Right.
I don't need that
and that's
extra.
the thing, being self-sufficient in yourself, because even if you got married next week, it's no guarantee your husband's going to live, with car accidents or COVID or whatever could happen. So you still have to be strong in yourself. So that's good. You're able to do it, that you don't need somebody else. If it works out and you find somebody who helps build you up, fantastic.
Right. And if that comes along, but if you go looking for it, then just forget it. Forget it, because you're going to attract the wrong people. And that's why I'm just like, you know what? I'm good. If something pops up, I'm not going to be opposed to it, but I'm good because I don't need that. Like the thing is that I grew up never knowing that I was supposed to love myself. I never knew that. I never knew that. Like I was like, when I first heard that, I was like, what do you mean? That sounds, I was like offended. Oh, you don't need anybody. You need to love yourself. Like what the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Right.
Because it was foreign to me. We were never taught to love ourselves.
Right.
We were taught to please everybody else. That's
or
it.
we might think that, oh, I'm wearing braids today, it looks pretty, and I love myself. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
You have to love yourself. You're never going to be happy in a relationship if you don't love yourself first. And the problem is that if you don't love yourself, then you're not going to get the right love from them either.
And
so
you said something, how when you go looking for it, it's not going to work. And this is why, though, is when you are looking, you're checking boxes. Yes, they're tall, or they have dark hair, or they have this, they have a good job. You're looking at the good, and we should look at the good, but a lot of times we're checking so many boxes that we're overlooking the red flags, as opposed to letting it happen. Did they call me back, or this or that, and letting it happen. We start focusing on the good before we even know the person.
Right.
Because that's what dating sites are, is, oh, do they live close by? That's a check. Do they have a good job? That's a check. Are they cute? That's a check. Do they have kids or not kids? Do they smoke, not smoke, whatever it is. And also too, with all the lies. So you can be like, cool, that person doesn't smoke, I don't want to smoke. And then they hide it, which there's nothing wrong with smoking. But if that's something that, we have health problems, but If what I'm trying to say is
Yeah.
if it is something to you
Yeah.
that is a
If
deal,
it's a deal breaker, then
you know, there was one guy too, who asked me, not that he necessarily liked me, he just wanted a girlfriend, so he asked probably, he probably asked you too. But he was rude about
oh yeah, bring me into it. Yeah, I'm used to it, girl. I'm used to it. Just bring
and
me into it.
comment
I don't
below,
even
he
know
probably
him, but that's fine.
comment below, he's probably asked you guys out too.
I'm
Mail
sure I have his number. I'm sure I do. I'm sure it's on my phone. I'm
but
sure.
he was really upset. He did have some self-esteem issues, things like that. There were some definite red flags, but he's like, I don't get it. These girls don't want to date me because I smoke. And I didn't even get to that point, whether it was important to me or not. But he was saying all these women are turning him down because he smokes. And it's like, okay, well, that's their deal breaker. And either you can change it or you can accept that they're not going to accept you. So it's not the girl's fault. You know, they're just saying, this is what I want in a relationship, what I don't. And, you know, he wasn't willing to change for them, but he wanted them to change for him,
Right.
you know, and it's like, you know,
One-sided, yeah.
and it makes more sense if you change to be healthy as opposed to her changing to be unhealthy in my eyes, you know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, smoke is bad. I mean, it's bad. You know, it's definitely a habit that you pick up,
It's a coping
especially
mechanism.
when you grow up around it. And that's, yeah. Yeah. And then, I mean, my mom could be innocent and all this and that, but I'll tell you what, they were very, very, very systematic on sitting at the table, drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes all day long. With all of us kids right there, it was like everybody in our family smoked. I mean, we were covered in smoke. So of course we're gonna pick the habit up.
Right.
All of us, you know. Yeah. So, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a coping mechanism or a trauma response, because sometimes too you might have low self-esteem, so you want to fit in, or
Yeah.
be the cool kid, or look cool and
I think I carried it as a crutch too, honestly. I
yeah,
think it was like my thing because it was like even when I was young, like I was like 19, 20, like like I couldn't smoke. Oh yeah, you gonna hear from me. Like like that was my thing. Like don't take that away from me. So yeah, I adopted that very early on as
Did
like
your
my
parents
crutch.
ever tell you not to smoke?
Um, no, not really. I mean, my dad didn't smoke, but he did smoke, but he quit like when we were like 3 because he got saved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did your mom go to church often with your dad, or just every now and
Yeah. Yeah, they don't go anywhere separate, pretty much. Anywhere separate.
were they
But
codependent?
huh?
Were they
Pr-
codependent? Did they
Probably,
need
yeah,
each
probably
other?
pretty much. Yeah, she won't go anywhere without him and and yeah, he won't really go anywhere without her. I mean, especially nowadays. But yeah, he listens to she's the boss, she wears the pants, she's the boss, you know.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, so he's kind of like, yeah.
Hmm.
So
Interesting. Yeah, family dynamics. There's a lot to it, you know, and I'm
yeah,
proud
and
of
then
you.
so yeah.
You've mentioned several times that you've been going to therapy. Has the therapy been helping? And if I can ask if it's talk therapy, what kind of therapy that you're doing, what's working for you?
Yeah, it is talk therapy. It is talk therapy. I have done some EMDR with a past therapist. But I don't do that anymore because I
Did you
write
like it or
better than
not like it?
do. Huh?
Did you like that or not? You said what, EDMR?
I'm not sure because at the time I was with a different therapist, but I still had Amanda. Like I was with her, but then I had got into like this thing where I had a different therapist for a minute, and it was just hard for me to speak things out like that out loud, like the vulnerability of it,
Yeah, it takes
you
time.
know.
You
Yeah,
gotta
like
get comfortable.
I didn't know her well enough to be speaking all that, and but I found out that I do better writing, like so I write a lot, and I've written a lot, like to my current therapist, which I've seen, like I said, I've been seeing her since I think Reese was 3, so
Oh,
she's 12 now. Yeah, I think Reese
so
was actually
so do
2.
you write letters to your therapist? And just so
I have a
people know, you
therapist
said the
already.
name, and
Yeah.
they happen to have the same first name. So
Yeah.
you were
Yeah.
like, what is she talking about?
Yeah.
Or do you write it to
It's
each
like, it's a
therapist?
journal. It's a therapy journal that I write on Messenger between her and I.
And I know a lot of people, I've suggested journaling. A lot of people either dismiss it or don't do it.
You can find out a lot of stuff because, man, when you write, when you journal, things come out. And then, like, literally, I won't even know what I'm saying until I go back and read it. And I'm like, wow, like, so many things pop out.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's your inner child talking. So you're actually talking to yourself.
right.
When you reread that, you're actually telling yourself stuff,
Yeah,
but you
you
think
say,
you're
I'm
telling
so angry,
somebody
or I
else.
wish this
Yeah.
didn't happen.
And it
Or
helps to
even
look
if you
back on
say,
that
I'm
stuff.
so stupid that I did this, it's like, whoa, I'm not building myself up. You can look back and, give yourself some grace, by reading it. It's like, you're not stupid. You were going through something. And I think giving yourself grace that it is a learning
Yeah.
process, and getting to the root cause,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think,
go ahead.
I would say, I think the pandemic, it definitely, it sent me, I'm not kidding, it sent me into this like spiritual awakening. I'm so not kidding. Like, my therapist is the one that pointed it out, like, you're going through an intense spiritual awakening. But I'm telling you, I had so many nights of freaking weeping and just, I'm telling you, so much stuff was poured out in my therapy thread that I never realized that I had in me. So it's actually a really great way to express yourself and to learn about yourself.
Right. And
It's just,
I know on my channel, not everybody is religious or spiritual, but there are a lot of times that things happen for, it's almost like, if you believe in God, that these
well,
trials
see,
and
there's the thing though.
tribulations are meant to bring us closer and to
But
rely
there's the
on
thing.
Him.
It doesn't have to be God though, because see, I see it differently. No, see, what I see differently is that I see religion, what I was brought up in,
Right.
and we were brought up to fear God. I mean, you're talking 4 years old watching the Rapture. Your
Right.
parents are gonna play and they're getting their head cut off. At the mark of the beast, or this. You're
Right.
talking like, yeah, I'm thinking that God can come down any second and slap me in the face. Kid, not kidding, because
Right.
I heard stories like that. Oh,
Yeah.
someone lied
You're
and got
going to
smacked
hell,
right in
and
the face. Oh yeah, so I'm thinking God could just wipe me off the street at any time, right? But what I learned was spirituality is different, because that's actually the person who you are inside.
your
That's
soul.
actually your makeup. That's who you are. So we were never taught that. We were taught to only live forever, to go to heaven. That's it. We
Right.
weren't taught careers. We weren't taught nothing. The only thing we were taught was to be obedient to God and go to church and to live forever and to go to heaven. That's it. Nothing was important. Schooling was important. Our lives were important. Our happiness was important. Nothing was important except for honoring God. That was it. That was it. We weren't even important to our parents. God first. My dad even would say, God first. God first, because God's the one that gave me you. So you're second. We put God first. But who does that?
Some people do believe that. Some people do
I
believe.
know, but like, God's not here though. Your children are here.
Right.
I mean, everybody has their own beliefs, but what I learned and what I
But
feel
there's a
like,
way to do it where your children aren't neglected or
right.
damaged,
And then if you don't follow in God's path, then you're shunned. Like, then they don't want nothing to do. Then your dad especially, like, oh, well, I don't have anything to talk to you about then if you're not talking about Jesus. But yet, like, he's far from like perfect completely,
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but I just found out, like, some years ago, investigating, research and stuff, I found out that spirituality really is the person that you are inside. Like like your makeup. Like, okay, so like, say they have like Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio, right? You read these traits about Scorpios, right? And it's weird. I don't believe in horoscopes like that. I'm not like dead set on it or whatever. But it's crazy that when I read all the signs of a Scorpio, that they always ring back true. I'm like, that's me. See, that's the difference for me for spirituality than it is religion, because spirituality to me is who you are as a person inside, where your personality comes from, where your thoughts come from, why you think the way you do, why you act the way you do, why you are the way you are, just your whole makeup. Like, religion is completely separate to me, because you're worshiping God. with spirituality, you're worshiping yourself in a way. You're actually you're learning yourself, and you're loving yourself, and you're learning who you are as a person. See, I was never taught that. It was always God, 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 God. That's it. That's the only thing that's important in life, is doing whatever God says, do whatever Jesus says. Like, not doing anything bad, or you're going out. That's it. Wiping out the earth, going out. That's it.
Now, do you
But
have a
really,
more positive outlook? Because sometimes, whether we trust in God or trust in ourselves, to where there's a certain shift, and like you said, getting into your spirituality, there's still a shift, whether it's God or without God. Did you feel a shift, and did it seem like that's when things started to release and things got better? And you probably still have some trauma you're working through. It's not an overnight, like, oh, okay, everything's fine. But did you feel a certain shift or relief?
you mean as in like how I felt towards God or myself?
Things like the trauma you went through, whether it was, why did I have to get divorced, or why were my parents like this, or whatever brought
Yeah.
you down, where you were crying all the time. Do you still cry as much? You probably still cry here and there. Is it
Right, I do at certain things because I'm just an emotional. I'm a very deep feeling person. I feel very deeply. I'm one of those. I'm one of those empathic people that I feel feelings like probably double the amount of like what most people feel. They're very strong, and so that takes people back too, because it's like I can't. That's how I feel it. Like, it's strong for me. Like, it's very
right?
strong. If it hurts, it hurts. If it's happy, it's happy. I'm gonna be either really happy or really low. But I would just going through therapy, just going through therapy and learning. I mean, I'm telling you, when I first started therapy, I couldn't even talk about anything. I couldn't talk about anything. Like, I had all these feelings, like it was so weird. I was like, I don't know what this is. I don't know why I'm feeling all this rumbling. I would literally feel rumbling in my stomach, up into my ribs. I'm like, I don't know what it is. And my therapist was like, that's unreleased. That's trauma. That's trauma. That's like buried trauma. Like, I mean, I would, like, I'm telling you, like, I would literally drop my head in shame, not even realize I was doing that. I couldn't talk. I couldn't talk about nothing. Girl, it took me like 6 years to start talking about, 7 years to start talking about stuff with my current therapist. And that's how long she's been working with me. That's how patient she's been. I couldn't tell her anything without being very scared. Very scared.
What were
Yeah.
you scared
Like,
of?
I guess just saying it, just saying stuff that happened. I was
And
just
admit it.
scared.
This is what I went through. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and then I think probably because I was tormented my whole life to keep silent. So to me, speaking about anything was like, oh my God, I'm in trouble. I would be like, I would be so like hyper vigilant, just like looking, I'd be scared. Like, I was thinking my parents would hear it, they would see it, they would hear it. I was scared to say anything. It took several years for me to actually open up. And then once I did, though, like, I feel such a relief. But it took a long time because it's hard to trust, it's hard to trust telling people
Especially
anything.
after you've been traumatized with,
Mhm.
where they're not trusting you, or they've hurt you so bad that you can't trust them, that you feel
Right.
like pretty much everybody's like that. Well,
Yeah.
listen, I hate to cut this short because I'm enjoying this. We can do another one if you're willing to. We'd love to have you back. I have to teach in the morning. So I do.
You go teach, girl.
That's right. I'm
You have
loving
a big job.
it. Awesome. Thank you so much. I definitely appreciate it. And we'll talk to you soon, and keep healing. You got
Okay.
this. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Take
I
care.
will.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.